I had to get on here for this whip and chat and show off the hair dye. I know that it was purple before, but now it's like a violet fluorescent kind of purple. I gotta say, I am low-key obsessed. Loving it. All right, here we go. Hi friends. Hello all. Welcome to my channel, Caffeine Queen Crafts. My name is Sarah. I am here with you today with another Whip and Chat, and I believe this is Whip and Chat episode 9. How crazy is that? Wow. One more and we'll be at 10. All right. So I'm working on Boreas by Jada Gem Shop. I will pop up a picture of the original artwork here. Yes. Okay. And, sorry, I'm tired today. I am using a pen that I got from Diamond Art Club's Amazon store that has those blues, not blues, purples and greens and whites in it, which sort of just goes with the canvas. I did recently buy an all-in-one placer, and a 4 multi-placer just from Amazon. I can link those down below too if you want. I really need to finally just set up an Amazon affiliate link, but I'm lazy, so what can I say? And then I'm using the Inferno tray from Firefly. I already have some drills in here. I had the cover on earlier. Don't worry, I'm going to take out the trash thing, our little trash can right now. And then in terms of what I'm going to put in my pen, oh, and then this cover minder from Patty Wax. Okay. And in terms of what I'm going to put in my pen, I was ordering a bunch of wax from Pure Bliss Wax Co. And to get to free shipping, I went ahead and I ordered one of their lollipop putties. This is in the grape flavor, and I'm very excited about it. And it smells like a grape candy, like perfectly. Look how cute. Ugh, I want to eat that. That's just adorable. Although I am worried because this looks really thick, so I don't know how well. I have to ruin it. Ah! It's a little stringy, which when that happens, you just stay it in the fridge or the freezer. It also could be because I was being super weird about how I was trying to load it up. So you can, with wax, do a thing where instead of like pushing it down, you just pull a little bit off. I think I'm going to do that with the lollipop just because it is very thick. Yeah, it's not actually stringy. I was just being really weird. Where is, hold on, I need my needle nose tweezers. I almost said pliers. No, they are not needle nose pliers, Sarah. They are needle nose tweezers. There they are. So something you can do is just push the wax. There was no wax in these multi-placers. They're brand new. Just push the wax in. God, that smells so good. Make sure it goes nice and deep into the pen. I think I am going to pop this one back in the fridge, though, just to be safe. Before I use it again. And then when it's too sticky, you just sort of dot it on your sleeve or your pants a couple times to get it to be less grabby. So that smells really good. And even if it is a little stringy, that is not Pure Bliss Wax Company's fault. That's just kind of the nature of putty in the summer. And then I also have Chocolate Bunny from Pure Bliss Wax Co. We're feeling very sweet and candy tonight. I've also got just Pure Bliss Wax Co. everywhere. I've got her cherry slushy wax in the warmer. No baby. Be sleepy. It's my daughter. We call her Holly around here. It's not her actual name, but that's what we call her. Okay. Single placer is loaded. I have some 823 in my tray right now, which is that pound sign symbol. And we're going to get to placing. All right. Trying to see where I left off. I feel like I also need to apologize for my nails. So if you saw from the beginning opening clip, I got my hair done. It is Thursday. I got it done on Monday. And for those of you who don't get your hair done, or don't dye your hair, I should say, with the professional dyes, you definitely don't want to wash it for a long period of time. And the dye kind of hangs around for a couple like washes. And this time it's very saturated because, you know, there's so many different colors on my head right now. Like so many different colors. It's crazy. My stylist is a genius. He's amazing. But every time I run my hands through my hair, I get a little bit of dye stuck in my fingernails. And then there's also ink on my hands because I was filming a video that involved me doing this journal. Will that video be out by the time this goes up? No, it won't be. So I'm doing I try to release a video. I got the cat. I thought it was a bug. The cat is at my foot. It scared me. I try to do a video during the week, usually on Tuesdays or Thursdays. And then a WIP and chat over the weekend. And the video for next week is going to be a little different than what I usually do. It's not specifically craft related, but I was watching Diet Coke and Diamonds, who was inspired by Lizette Crafts and Tells, and then I was watching her series, and I was like, you know what? They both did / are doing, or maybe Diet Coke and Diamonds is still doing it. She might not be, but we'll get to that. They both did / are doing diamond painting detoxes, which I don't mean to be like offensive to people who, you know, are detoxing for medical reasons. That's just the vernacular for what it's called. If we can think of a better term, I'm fine calling it that, but for now we're going to stick with detox. Diamond painting detoxes, where they just don't buy any diamonds, and they have like these, not any diamonds, they don't buy any more diamond paintings, and then they have this journal to just like keep track of like what diamond paintings they've done, how many they still have left, and no one's allowed to buy any new diamond paintings until all of the currently owned diamond paintings are done. And I'm not going to do that. I am on a no-buy right now. Hi, Miso. Sorry, my cat just popped up. Not in Mommy's glue, baby. Not in Mommy's glue. Don't be a bud. Can I help you? Can I help you? I'm only poking the cat because my putty's still a little sticky. Normally I do not poke the cat, and I don't condone poking cats with your diamond painting materials. Oh, I see what it is. I left my caboodle with my waxes and my putties open, and it's a lot of interesting smells. Let me close that. Oh, and now we're just gonna sit. Okay, cool. Hi. Are you a YouTube star? Are you starring on YouTube? Are you a YouTube star? Who's a YouTube star? Who's the star of YouTube? It's you, Miso. You're the star of YouTube. I know. Oh, and I put stuff on your chair. Is that why we're here bothering Mommy? Because there's stuff on your chair? There you go. I moved it. Now your chair is free. You gonna go away? Oh no, you're gonna get more comfortable. Cool. All right, we're gonna hang for a sec. Like this. So, anyway. Diamond painting detoxes, where these two creators are not buying, or were not buying. I believe Lizette Crafts finished hers. We're not buying any new diamond paintings till they finish their old ones. And I decided we're gonna do that with my TBR pile. If you're not a book person, TBR stands for To Be Read Pile. So I was filming a video of me setting up the journal, little Miso. Setting up the journal, laying out all my books, kind of taking inventory of how many there are. There are 26 books in my TBR pile. And that's not even books, all the books I want to read. That's just the books that I own and have not read yet. There's 26 of them. And that's too many. I'm overwhelmed. I've been in a bit of a reading rut lately, and I'm trying to break it. And so we're going to give this a shot. So it's not specifically diamond painting related, but it has been inspired by the diamond painting community. This might be something common in the booktube world. I am not on booktube because when I am on booktube, I feel very strongly about books. And so if a booktuber at some point recommends books that I want to read and then I don't have time to read and I feel bad and it goes on and on and on and on and on. So I'm not in the booktube space. And that is not content that I find relaxing. It's content that I find stressful. So I don't plan on being in the booktube space. If people in the booktube community tend to do it differently, I'm sorry. But I'm going to do it the way I'm going to do it. And I'm a crafting creator. I'm not a booktuber. This cat just got even more comfortable. And she's like, her head is in my hand right now. And she is purring. No one can, you don't really hear Miso purr. She's not a loud purrer. She's just more of a vibration cat. Otherwise I would try to see if we could get it so you guys can hear her. Oh, I feel so bad. She's so comfortable. And I love her so much. She's my little baby. But she needs to go bye-bye. She needs to go away, even though she's so sweet. Yes, she is. You guys probably can't even see her face. You just see her little paws and belly, I bet. She's just cute. She's just cute, cute, cute. Just a cutie patootie. All right. Hey, Miso. Come over here, come over here, come on your chair. There's your chair, good girl. Okay, she's on her chair. There's gonna be cat hair in my glue, I know it. I shouldn't have let her do that, but she's so cute. All right, so that video of my TBR detox, my book detox, will be coming out next week. So this video is going up before then. It's Thursday. These usually go up Sunday. But I don't film Friday because Friday nights I am busy. Trying to film Thursdays because that's what we're going to have to do during the school year. Alright, so in terms of diamond painting, I still have the 4 same WIPs that I had. But I just heard something, sorry. I still have the same 4 WIPs that I had last week. I'm not the kind of diamond painter where my WIPs are going to change week to week. There will probably be a few shifts, but you know, it is what it is. So I am working on Boreas, obviously, for Summer with the Masters, which is an event put on by Katie at Diamonds and Washi. If you don't watch her, then I'm not sure you even watch diamond painting content regularly. because Katie is a big name in the diamond painting world. And then I am working on the Bumblebee by Carla Joseph from the Indigenous Collection. I probably, when I finish that one, I want to do a post review on that because I have complicated feelings about that kit. I like it, but there's some things I want to talk about in a post review. And I don't want my post reviews to just be negative, like I'm not, oh, I didn't like it, so I'm going to do a post review. I try to do a post review whenever I do a small shop. Or I will try to do a post review whenever I do a small shop. I haven't been around long enough to say I always do that. With this, I have a sneaking suspicion that baby is still awake. The baby, not the kitty baby. Important to clarify. And then I still have Elegance Fuchsia by Helcorio from Diamond Art Studio UK. That is my massive kit. Y'all are gonna have to get used to hearing me talk about that because it is my 198 color kit. I don't think it's worked out where I'm doing that one for WIP and Chat. Since my month in review, I have done 4 other sections on that kit, but I've never been working on it when it's time to film a WIP and Chat. And then I'm doing Paint the Moon. I'm blanking on the artist's name, but it is from Diamond Art Studio, not Diamond Art Studio, Diamond Art Club from their Amazon storefront, and it will be linked down below. That totally just slid off, wow. Okay, let's see, what else? Yeah, so I have a WIP wheel, which I just have as an app on my tablet, where I spin the WIP wheel and it tells me which WIP I'm gonna work on. And then I have it in the settings where any kit that I am working on for an event, so I'm working on Boreas by John William Waterhouse. This kit is for an event. It's for Summer with the Masters. Sorry if you hear some thunder. There's been some thundering and some storming lately. But so like, and then I'm working, and then the Bumblebee by Carla Joseph is for Be Happy, which is put on by Natalie at Diet Coke and Diamonds and Tiffany at Diamonds at Tiffany's. They are doing an event, so the Bee canvas is for that too. Anytime I'm working on something for an event, I double the weight, so like how big the wedge is on the WIP wheel. And whatever the weight is on a WIP is how many squares I do in it before I spin the wheel again. So for example, Boreas, really all of the wedges have either a weight of 1 or 2, with 2 being bigger. And so that means that, you know, the canvases for events I land on more often, and then when I do land on them, I have to do more of them before I can move on. And so Boreas has a weight of 2, the Bumblebee has a weight of 2, and that's it. The others all have a weight of 1. Although we have rolled Boreas 3 times in a row now. Have we? Or has it only been 2? I think it's only been 2. But in the last couple, like in the last few days, all I've done is work on Boreas. And because I've rolled it at least twice, maybe 3 times, I have done at least 4 sections on this kit without a break. Which I don't mind, because even though this kit is very confetti heavy, I do love confetti. Sorry, I'm listening to the thunder. I almost started singing Imagine Dragons there, but I restrained myself. I did. Y'all should be very proud of me. Yeah. So, still working on the same WIPs as I was last week. No big shifts. I am traveling next week, though. Not for long, just for a couple days. So I'm thinking about when. I'm probably going to film the WIP and Chat next week on a Wednesday. So it'll go up while I'm on vacation. But I'm thinking about what I'm going to bring with me, and I'm probably going to bring either the Bumblebee or Paint the Moon. It really depends on how much progress I make on both of those kits in the next few days. So, Paint the Moon is a bit of a challenge for me because it is a very confetti-heavy kit. Not confetti-heavy, sorry. I love confetti. It's got a lot of color blocking. That's what I meant. Literally the opposite of confetti. And I sort of hate color blocking. I'm not good at it. I'm not fast. I honestly would go faster probably if there was confetti. Sorry for the yawn. Sorry. Some water. I'm just paying attention to the thunder. So today, Holly and I, we have a birthday tomorrow in the family. I still have to do shopping to get the cake and everything for it, but I was looking for some birthday presents today. And I ran out with Holly after lunch to go to the mall. It was absolutely pouring rain. Like just pouring buckets when we got there. And she started to fuss, and I was like, okay, we have an electric car. And my dad had been using the charger all day. He was almost dead. And I was not, like, close to dead, but I had dropped into the double digits, which my car gets over 200 miles per charge, and so whenever I'm below 100, I start to feel nervous. It was all about me. And so part of why I wanted to go to the mall was to do the shopping, but also because there are electric car chargers at the mall. And I really needed to plug in, or I felt like I needed to plug in. That was just my anxiety, but I didn't want to just leave. So, and there's like a little play area in the mall, so my plan was, I knew what I was going to get for this birthday gift, and I was like, we'll get that, and then we'll play in the play area for like half an hour or so, and then by the time we're done with all of that, the car will be like over 70 to 80% charged, which, since we're not on a road trip, is fine by me. We're just going around town. But it was pouring buckets, and I was going to wait it out in the car for a hot sec. But Holly was in the back. She was getting fussy, and I was like, okay, we'll run. Big mistake. Should have waited it out with her being fussy. Or should have just accepted that I didn't actually need to charge the car and that was my anxiety talking. Because we got soaked. Absolutely soaked. Like, I was squishing in my shoes, kind of soaked. And Holly's onesie was just clinging to her. We were so pathetic when we walked into Bath & Body Works to do the shopping for the birthday gift. The guy working there looked at me and he was like, oh my God, you need a towel. And he was handing me towels from their hand washing station where they test the soaps. And he was trying to help me clean out the stroller because the water had collected in the cup holders. And Holly did not care one bit, though. She loves the water. And so she was just like, cool. Like, when we walked into the building and she was out of the rain, she screamed at me. Not long. She got distracted very quickly, but she, was digging the rain. But I was very relieved when it was finally time to go home. And we could both change and be in dry clothes. And now she has changed and she's in dry clothes. And it's lovely. And I have changed and I am in dry clothes. I'm very cozy and it feels super good. We're diamond painting. We're having a good night. This is a good night for us. Yeah. Sometimes I see where I'm going to put a drill. I pick it up. I look away to pick it up, and then I look back. And And I do not for the life of me remember where I was going to put that drill. Anybody else do that? Drives me nuts. Okay. What else? So we talked about diamond painting. We've talked about what videos are going up. I guess we'll talk about life. We talked a little about life with the rain. I'm not even done birthday shopping for that individual yet. They're a big Civil War fan, and my friend and I are finally going to Springfield tomorrow. So just as a day trip, we'll be back by the time this is up to see all the Lincoln stuff. I'm going to see if I can find a souvenir for them while we're up there. And then I'm going to call it good. Plus making the birthday cake. I make this really good birthday cake that's actually from this Kickstarter campaign of someone who recreated all of the... Oh, sorry again. Someone who recreated all of the recipes from Breath of the Wild, the Zelda game. Tears of the Kingdom had not come out yet. I should check and see if they're going to do a second one for Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, but it's from that. It's the fruit cake, which is not like the fruit cake you get at the holidays. My family calls it the summer fruit cake because the fruit that you put in it, it's not very fruit cakey. All right, so I've been doing this kit is I do the 310 first, and then I do the 939, which I just did, and then we pick the other color that seems to be the most common. And what am I feeling for that? I wonder if I'm feeling this X symbol. There seems to be a lot of it. Yeah, I think we're gonna do the X, which is 154, a favorite color of mine. All right. I love the sound that it makes when drills are popping into place. It's just a great sound. Let's see. Yeah, we're having a pretty chill week, couple days. I've got to do a lot of planning before we go out of town. We're visiting. So next week we are visiting my sister in a place that I used to live, and my friends have not gotten to meet Holly yet, so they're like wanting to see her. And none of my friends out there have kids yet, so I feel like I'm there's one of our friends is pregnant, is expecting her first baby, but she hasn't had the first baby yet. And so there's some confusion because they're like, well, can we do dinner at like 8? Or do you want to get drinks after dinner at 9? And I'm like, no, I have a toddler with me. And I'm just trying to temper everyone's expectations. I'm like, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to have a morning shift and an afternoon shift. We're going to have our pre-nap shift and our post-nap shift. We're going to have one activity that we do per shift. Go back to the hotel, do our nap, go back out, and I'm going to send you all the shift schedule, and that's not going to include super consistent times because, she goes down for her nap pretty consistently, but she wakes up at various times, and she wakes up from her nap at various times, so her nap could be 2 hours, her nap could be 3 hours, 3.5, occasionally once even 4. So I'm not going to give you super specific times at this juncture, but here's a list of things that we are going to be doing in the vague time slots. We're going to be doing this. This is what we're going to be doing Thursday afternoon, and this is what we're going to be doing Friday morning, and blah, blah, blah. And if you want to see us, you are welcome to join us for any of those slots. I don't care. Pick one that works for you. And that's just how we're going to do it. Oh, big yawn. So they seem to be responding well to that. And last night I was looking over the baby registry of our friend. I've had a lot of friends. I was the first one of my friend group from college to have a kid. And so I'm getting a lot of texts from people that I'm friends with, or that I didn't keep in as close contact with. They wouldn't, if I were to get married, they wouldn't be in my wedding party, but they would be invited kind of friends. Who are like, Sarah, I need you to look over my baby registry. Okay. I'm fine. I went first. I am happy to pass on the knowledge to others. And a lot of me, it is just me telling them, I'm like, look, there's no right or wrong answers here. You're going to like some of the things you register for. You're going to hate them. I can tell you what I liked, but everyone is different. Someone was grilling me about diapers, and I was like, this is the brand that I like. I don't feel like paying more for those. I absolutely hate this brand, but some people absolutely love it. It's all a matter of personal preference, and a lot of it is just, you don't know what your baby's gonna like. Because they are the other thing. I was really fully prepared not to be able to nurse because I knew I was having a C-section, and that can be not great for nursing. I was prepared to not nurse and registered for some stuff for nursing, but not a lot. Mostly registered for formula feeding, and then that child was not into bottles. Just wanted to nurse. So, the best laid plans. It is what it is. Yes, so that's what's going on in my life, and I'm excited. So where we're going is actually in the same general vicinity as where I used to live. That's where I first lived when I started doing IVF, and I kind of want to take Holly. I want to call the doctor's office and be like, hey, not to be weird or anything, but I'm coming back in town. They know that I moved because, they shipped my embryos when I moved. I kind of want to be like, hey, not to be weird or anything, but I'm coming back into town. I did have a baby that was made in your facility. Can we come take a picture in front of your logo or at the office? Not sure if that's something reproductive endocrinologists get often, but it's something that I would love. And everyone's like, oh, it's going to be her first time here. And I'm like, no, technically she was conceived here. Her first time defrosted in this particular location. I hope that nobody thinks that that's weird, that I want to take a picture of my baby in front of the reproductive endocrinologist's office. I wouldn't care if you did. I'm still going to do it, or I'm going to try to do it. They're going to think I'm real strange, but that's like a landmark in my mind. Super important. When we drive by the reproductive endocrinologist that I have locally, I point it out every time we drive by. Even though, they weren't the ones that made her, they were the ones that defrosted her, but they were the ones that defrosted her, so I point out their office whenever we drive by. Not that she understands me, she's not old enough, but I do. But hey, listen, one time when I was 14, we were driving up state a little bit to see, God, where were we going? We were going to a wedding. I was 14 years old. We were going to a wedding that was out of town and wasn't overnight. And we're just driving. And suddenly my mom goes, hey, look, you guys see that bed and breakfast? And we turned and we looked and we were all like, yes, we see that bed and breakfast. And she goes, that's where Sarah was conceived. And my 14-year-old 8th grade self just died. Just absolutely mortified. Died. Absolutely died. And then she proceeded. Because sometimes I think my mom, she was very funny. And sometimes I wonder if she knew something embarrassed me, if she leaned into it. And proceeded to tell everyone at the wedding that we were up the street from the spot where I was conceived. And ironically, other babies were conceived at that wedding. And later on, those babies' parents blamed my father. Not because the child was his or he fathered it in any way, shape, or form, but because my dad likes tequila and he has a very high alcohol tolerance. Sorry, that was the wind. He has a very high alcohol tolerance, and he kept offering more and more booze to this kid's parents. They kept accepting, and got rather inebriated, and then 9 months later had a baby. Sometimes people have said to me, they were like, oh yeah, I tried to keep up with your dad, and I wound up getting sick outside of the bar, or I was yelling at blah, 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 or they try to tell me these stories that they think are really funny, but also are like, I should have, should have known better, blah, 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 it was so hard, and I'm always like, listen, if you didn't have a baby 9 months later, I'd say you got off pretty easy. Do not try. If you drink with my father, don't try to keep up. He's not as big into drinking as he was back then. Oh. Now there's still more. All right. So, that was a little tangent walk down memory lane that I was not planning on talking about, but funny story for you. There's not as much of that as I thought there would be. Maybe that symbol just always jumps out at me because I love the colors so much. Okay. So, then... The other thing that's going on is my job. I am activating my email, and I have to get the tuberculosis test and everything. And I'm trying just to stay real mellow. Like, the vibe the administration is giving me is mellow, so I am trying to match it. That is not my natural state. But I'm trying to be chill. I'm not good at being chill because I have anxiety and I drink too much coffee. But I'm trying to be chill. Speaking of, the coffee pot for my classroom came. I'm very excited. I need to see when I can get into my room and start setting it up. Because the paperwork's mostly filled out. I just have a few extra little things that I need to do. And I told them that I needed to get a tuberculosis test, but I forgot I already had a tuberculosis test this year. So, gotta send that in. The fun things you get to do when you work with children. Why did that not stick? There we go. Okay. Sorry, we're getting into the browns. This is $7.79. But I'm also starting to look over the back to school sales, get my pens in order. I'm not sure what I need, so I'm just buying a little bit of everything. And I'm pumped for this upcoming school year. We're going to be mellow. We're going to be chill. It'll be a miracle if that attitude lasts me through September, but that's what we're going for. I'm kind of mentally preparing myself also. I keep feeling like summer's over. No, it's not. I still have a couple weeks of July left at the time of this filming. I'm going on a couple trips between now and then. My sister is coming back to town with me to see family for a few weeks. So like, we still have a few good like things left to do this summer, but I just keep thinking to myself, oh, it's over. It's not over. It's not over, Sarah. It's not over yet. You're just, you know, if I get access to my room in July, I would set up my room in July. I'm that kind of teacher. Just because then I can stop stressing about it and I can stop thinking about it and get it out of my head. Ooh. You know, if you watch Sea of Diamonds, she's a school librarian in Canada, and she was just like, it's the last day of school. And I'm like, what? How? I don't know what the Canadian schedule is, but I was like, how is it your last day of school? I'm already mentally preparing myself for next year. We're trying to be chill. We're pretending to be chill. Gotta remember to take my meds so that they don't realize, you know, who they hired. I'm not that bad. But, oh. At least I think I'm not that bad now that I'm not pregnant anymore. Pregnant Sarah had even less chill than regular Sarah. Probably because she was under-caffeinated. The only thing worse than Sarah when she's over-caffeinated isn't under-caffeinated Sarah. She has the same high standards and less patience. So, you know. But I'm excited. That did not stick. Stick, friend. And then, I'm so sorry. I keep yawning. I'm really tired today. Probably because I have that warm cozies because I was sopping wet and then I changed my clothes. And so now I'm like, even though that was hours ago, I just have cozy vibes all around me. Ooh. Sorry. Here, and here, and one more. There. I don't know why I thought there was a lot of this color. There's really not. I think the problem I'm running into is that there's not like a ton of any other color. I'm just, you know, going with the flow. So, wow, how many times can I say so? I'm very proud of myself. I've not broken my no-buy, which is nice. There have been a few kits that have been tempting, but I have said no. I need to just stop clicking on the links that Diamond Art Club sends to the VIPs. Just don't do it. Don't do it. You don't need to know. You don't need to look. Why be tempted? I might need to put out a poll, though, on the Crafters Den Discord about what kit, because once I finish Boreas, I am going to kit up whatever diamond painting I want to do for my classroom. But I keep changing my mind. Can't make up my mind. I'm probably going to have to ask my friends, my teacher friends, to weigh in, because I do trust their opinions. Initially, I was thinking that I would do Literature Dragon, but a friend pointed out to me that he's got a pipe and that some parents might not like that and think that it portrays smoking in a good light, so we're switching it over to, I was like, okay, well, I'll do that one then. I have right now Technology Meltdown in Holly's Nursery, which I initially did for a classroom, but then never got around to hanging up. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll do the Literature Dragon and switch it up with Technology Meltdown. But then I got Pages by, I'm going to say this name wrong, Yukumi? I think it's, why am I blank? I just blanked on the name. I will link it down below. Yume? I don't know. I'm going to not say it rather than say it wrong. I need to stop. But I got Pages. I'll link it down below on a D-stash. At the time of this filming, I believe it's sold out. And I was looking at that artwork and I'm like, you know what, maybe this one. but it has so much color blocking it'll drive me insane. Maybe I just look and see which ones. And then I also got the Dust Bunnies, which is also a Spangler dragline. Maybe I just need to see which one's smaller, because I don't know if I'm going to have time to do anything super big and wild before the school year starts, depending on how long this takes me. Because, yeah. Well, I mean, I know I'm definitely not going to finish it before the school year starts, because I go back to work on August 8th, and I'm not going to finish this one anytime soon. I would just go ahead and pick one and kit it up, but yeah. Well, I will put some pictures up of the 3 options. You let me know which one you think works. I'm the reading interventionist, so I want it to be something kind of fantasy or booky, you know, to like go with the vibe of my room. So let me know down in the comments which one of those you guys think would be the best option. Oh. Boom, 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 boom. I think that's it on this one. As soon as I put it away, though, I'm gonna find more, because that's just the law of life. It's just how the world works for me. I put the color away, and then I immediately see something I missed. I'm scanning. I feel like I sound like the Predator. I'm scanning, I'm scanning, I'm scanning. Okay. I think we're good. Ooh, I always go a little slower during WIP and chats because I have to talk and think about what I'm saying. Who wants to talk and think? Who wants to think? Thinking is lame. All right, we're definitely not doing an AP next because my putty is still too new. Kind of wondering about either the and symbol, the S, or the F. You know what, actually we're gonna do this arrow. We're gonna do 317, which is this big white arrow, which kind of seems to outline a lot of the creases and color changes. I was looking into it. I believe Boreas means like, is a god of the northern wind in maybe Norse mythology. And that makes sense because this picture by John William Waterhouse, the original artwork, is a woman getting buffeted by the wind. He did a lot of, you know, like allusions to mythology. Like, you know, he did like stuff that's, the names I'm not a John William Waterhouse expert. I know more about, like, I also do a Van Gogh. Did a Van Gogh this year. I know more about Van Gogh than I do John William Waterhouse, but, like, he's got, like, Persephone, Cupid, like, entering the garden, Cupid's Psyche. He did a lot of stuff with mythology, which is not super uncommon in the old master world. Speaking of, when I was going through my TBR pile for my detox video, I forgot that I had Neon Guards by, I want to say Catherine Roberts in there. I don't know. I forgot that I had that in there, and I'm kind of pumped and I'm excited. Although I don't normally think of, you know, Persephone and Hades as a very romantic couple. But that Chrysabug artwork from Diamond Art Club kind of had me pausing where I'm like, well, that kid is gorgeous. Maybe I need to rethink my position on that just so that I can do that artwork. I've heard some people, and look, there's that arrow symbol that I was just doing. I was like, oh, it's done. Look, there's 2 right there. When that happens, I just pull out the little container and I just pick out a couple materials and I single place them without pouring them out again. Come on, friend. There you go. Bum, 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 bum. So I've heard some people give interpretations where it's like, well, no, maybe Persephone wanted to get away from her mother because her mother was domineering. For those of you that don't know the story, Persephone is the goddess of the underworld. She's Hades' wife. He fell in love with her, and he kind of stole her. She was Demeter's mother, Demeter being the goddess of the earth. And Hades stole her away and tricked her into eating food in the underworld. And after you've eaten food in the underworld, you can't ever really leave the underworld. You will always be tied to the underworld. But they worked out a deal where Persephone would spend half the year with Hades in the underworld and half of the year up above with her mother. And the story always is that that's why there's winter, because that's when Persephone goes back down to the underworld and Demeter gets very sad and the world goes to sleep and mourns the loss of Persephone. Specifically, the fruit was a pomegranate, so you often see pomegranates in imagery with Hades and Persephone a lot. Oh, sorry. And some people say it's a love story. Some people call it, an attack. And I think it all is going to depend on how Persephone feels about it. Some people are like, well, maybe she wanted to get away from her domineering mother. I don't know. But every interpretation I found, like academic interpretation, or anytime it's been taught to me, it always talks about how Demeter felt and how Hades felt. No one ever talked about how Persephone felt. Which is probably why there's so much fandomness around it, where people are kind of trying to fill in the gaps. So, I've always subscribed to the theory that, I think it's because they always say Hades tricked her. Some people are like, well, maybe she ate the pomegranate on purpose. And it's like, all the academic readings I have had, that he tricked her. Not that she did it on purpose, but it's a lot. But I'm interested to read the Neon Gods book by Katie Roberts, because that is about Hades and Persephone. And see how that goes. I forgot that one was in my TBR pile. It was a gift from a friend for my birthday last year, which we're almost coming up on the anniversary of my birthday, so my next birthday, I still haven't gotten to it. Bad Sarah. Should read more. But that's all I do is I read and diamond paint. And ignore my other responsibilities. Not true, I parent, but okay. It's always wild to me to see in these WIP and chats, like, I always am like, I make such good progress and I do such good time, and then I'll look at, like, where I was when I started the WIP and chat versus where I was when I finished the WIP and chat, and I'm like, that was an hour? I did nothing. I should time it, and I should see how much I get done in an hour when I'm not filming a WIP and chat versus when I am. Ooh. Would have to be on similar kits, though. Because, like, what I would get done on a color blocking heavy piece versus a, normal piece for me, which is confetti heavy. It's going to be very different. So I also recently, I wanted to film a video of me reorganizing my stash because I was going to add these shelves to our gaming closet, and I couldn't, and then I was looking into what, like, little things I would need to add, like what hardware I'd need to support the shelves, and then I was like, wait a minute, this closet is not as big as I remember, because it's not like a traditional closet where it just goes straight up and down. It's like more of a cabinet, but a very deep one, because there's openings for it in the living room and in the hallway. It like has 2 doors, which is part of what I like about it. Our house is old, so it's got some quirks like that. And it's like, well, wait, I can't store them upright. I would have to store all my diamond paintings on their side, and would it even fit? And no, they don't, so I have to come up with a new plan for my diamond painting storage, which is why you do not get a video of everything in my stash. And why you probably won't before we go back to school. So how many videos do I have to put up? I have my TBR pile going up next week. And then I'm probably going to do the post review on the Bumblebee. And that'll get us to June. And then my month in review in early August. And then I'm back to school. So yeah, and then I definitely will not have time to film that when I'm back to school. So that one's going to be a while before we get to see. But it is what it is, c'est la vie. We shall all survive. Excuse me. All right, in terms of content I am consuming, I still am reading the same books I was reading last time. I am still working on the audiobook of Elantris, but I'm over 2/3 of the way through that one. Oh, there's a 310 thing that I'm missing there. I'm over 2/3 of the way through that one. I'm probably going to finish that one over the weekend, would be my guess, but who's to say? Depends on if I feel like listening to audiobooks when I diamond paint, or if I feel like watching something. And then I'm still reading Manhunt by something Swanson. I want to say Ron Swanson, but I know that's not right. That's the guy from Parks and Rec. So that book is about the 12-day manhunt to catch John Wilkes Booth after he assassinated Lincoln, and I'm learning some stuff. It reads kind of like historical true crime, like history, but also true crime, which I'm down for. I'm learning some stuff. Like, he expected a bunch of his buddies to, like, go ahead and assassinate other members of the Union. Like, he expected his buddies to go ahead and unalive a bunch of other people for him who had similar political leanings to Lincoln, because he was very pro not giving people of color their freedom. And yeah, so that was that. But my dad asked me an interesting question, where he was like, do they talk about, like it being a conspiracy where, like, the Confederate leaders asked him to kill Lincoln and blah, blah, blah? I was like, I'm not that far into it, but I checked the index, and I want to say Andrew Jackson, but I know that's not right. The guy who was the president of the Confederacy is only mentioned like 5 times. And if it was a conspiracy where he paid Booth to assassinate Lincoln, he would definitely be, it would definitely be mentioned more. He'd be mentioned more than 5 times. Just my gut feeling. But apparently there's a series about it on Apple TV that he's been watching, and he thought maybe, and it has the same name, Manhunt. So he thought maybe that was the thesis of the book, but that's not what the thesis is so far. Oh, yeah, okay. What else do we have going on? Oh, there's a series on Netflix called Trainwreck, which I've talked about certain episodes of Trainwreck on here before. But I was really excited because this past Tuesday, they premiered an episode of Trainwreck about the balloon boy. I was in high school when that happened, and boy, did I miss out on some important details because I was busy being in high school, being like, I don't care. And man, is that story wild. So if you're unfamiliar, I don't know how you couldn't be, but there was this family in Fort Collins, Colorado. We lived in Colorado at the time, actually, so I remember hearing about this. Like, my finance teacher reading us live updates during class while we were working on a project, because it was a big deal, where they were working on like a flying saucer as a fun project for the family, and they thought they had it tethered down, but it wasn't tethered down, and it broke off and it flew away. And after it flew away, there was a compartment inside of it where their son would hide sometimes, and they couldn't find their son, and they were like, oh my God, he's in the balloon, supposedly. And there was a whole manhunt, to like catch him and find him, and it turned out he was sleeping in the garage the whole time. Some people, most people, say that they made it up to get attention, and the father did plead guilty to making it up. I forget what the exact criminal conspiracy charges were. They were pardoned in, I think, 2020. But in the train wreck episode, they are talking about like how they didn't make it up, and he only pled guilty because his wife was not a U.S. citizen at the time, and they were threatening to deport her, so on and so forth. Which, if those allegations turned out to be true, I wouldn't exactly be surprised, but what do I know? It's just my opinion. Anyway. It's crazy. It was a crazy story. So that was a good one. It was only like an hour-long watch. Other content I have been consuming. So the Love Island finale happened. I did watch Beyond the Villa first episode, which was the cast of season 6 doing their own like Bravo style reality show. I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was good. Definitely something I'm probably going to keep watching. Because, I love the drama. And then my friend in D&D told me about Queer Ultimatum. The hydroponic just turned off. It must be 9. Or not off, dimmed. So it must be 9. Told me about the show Queer Ultimatum, which is people giving their partners ultimatums about getting married, and they break up and they date other people, and then they got to decide if they want to get married or if they want to break up or if they want to be with the other people they dated, and it sounds like it's gonna be messy. And I love messy. Now that Love Island is over, I need the drama from somewhere. I need to binge other drama. This season of Love Island was weird. I don't want to say spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but this was a strange season, and I'm going to be interested in how the reunion plays out and how many people stay together versus how many people were together because it was, popular. I don't know. I don't want to be cynical, but I'm also very cynical when watching reality television. And I definitely also, before I forget, I'm just thinking out loud at this point, need to look up what's up with Big Brother. Because that is my other summer trashy show. All right. I believe that is it for this color. And it's 9 o'clock. I started filming around 8. It's been about an hour. So I'm going to call that the end of this WIP and chat. So thank you so much for watching, friends. I appreciate all of you. If you made it all the way to the end, leave me a little, what emoji should you leave me? Leave me like one of those like clacky things that they used to say action, since we're talking about TV. Also leave in the comments what diamond painting you think would look best in a classroom. I would love to hear that because I am plagued by indecision. All right, so I hope you had fun here with me today. I hope your caffeine is hitting just right and that your crafting is going well. Bye.